Hello and welcome to the Etch Play live show. It is 4 p.m. It's Thursday, so of course, where else would we be? Where else would you be? But right here with us. I'm joined this week by Dan Thomas. We're another week without Adam.
Hello.
The inmates are running the asylum again, so let's see how this goes.
We ran absolute riot.
It's going to be a very short show, or a shorter than normal show today, because we have a company retreat. Didn't want to leave you hanging, so we're here anyway. We're looking to maybe go about 20 minutes or so. But yeah, we've got to get to a farm, so we're going to be quick today. We're just going to talk about some of the news stories that caught our attention this week, and then we're as I say, we're going to be popping off to a farm. So, but before we get going, Dan, how are you? We'll try this again. Hopefully, we'll hang fire and not go offline again.
Let's not hold our breath, but no, I'm good, and I think I'm as grateful as the audience that this is just going to be a short show.
Yeah.
You're welcome, everyone. You won't be subjected to as much of us as you normally are.
Right. Cool. Let's get rolling straight into the news. I'm going to cross my fingers that I don't have any more internet issues. Apologies if we drop in and out. Hopefully we're in the clear now. But we're going to kick off. We're talking about Tencent. So this was something that we saw not long actually before we were coming on for the stream. It's a bit of an odd one. So Tencent over in China bringing in something called it's called Midnight Patrol. It's a new feature, and it uses facial recognition software to scan someone's face to make sure they're not a child. And if they are a child, they're not going to be able to play the game between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning. So in China, all the IDs are linked to a national database, and I think this was in place anyway to try and stop children playing late at night. But obviously, because it was just an ID, children were using their parents' IDs or adults' IDs to get around the system. Now the facial recognition software is going to pick up if you are a child or not, and if you are a child, you're booted offline. If you refuse to do the facial recognition, the assumption will be made you are a minor, a child. So again, you won't be allowed through, and you'll be kicked offline. So I don't know how you feel about it, Dan. That feels quite scary to me.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you can see both sides of the coin, really, can't you? Like, yes, it's a good thing to manage addiction, but is that the responsibility of Tencent and the Chinese government's national database of everybody? I'm not so sure. Would you be comfortable with a system knowing who you are and monitoring your behaviors? Very questionable.
I think
is it a sign of things to come for us for the future?
I don't think so. I don't think I hope not. I think in the Western world, in Europe and especially in the UK, I think you would really struggle to get something like that through. It's maybe not as out there in China. And as you say, I think that the intentions are good. I don't think the reasons necessarily are that monitoring people to a higher extent. Obviously, we don't know the ins and outs, but it seems like the intentions are good, and it is to try and help children to not fall into gaming addiction, and it's a way to manage. As you said, is that the place of the government and Tencent as a company to be doing that, or is that the responsibility of parents to be doing that? And go ahead.
What would be interesting is what the technology enables, and I'm sure this is probably in place as well as part of this. If we can know who you are and look you up on a database, like you think how much tracking we're already, how much information Google already has on us and our behaviors, our preferences, and things like that. When we have it down to that granular level of detail, on the fact that we actually see your face and recognise you and look you up in a national government database. That just spans all sorts. It opens up opportunities, but also, like I say, it opens up lots of terrifying opportunities as well. And the technology in itself is, it's an impressive technical achievement.
For sure.
And great. I could get highly personalised ads, or it could be used for good. Like this is under the guise of a good thing, but equally there's probably behaviours and things that could be used to preemptively support people who may be exhibiting mental health issues and things like that, which could be a great use of it. But yeah, very very dodgy territory, I think, from our perspective. Let us know in the chat, folks, if you want to be face tracked and monitored. Thumbs up or thumbs down up for that. The Etch Play live show is going to start tracking your engagement levels and happiness levels.
What do you mean start? We've been doing this since week 1. But yeah, just to build on that, so in 2019, Tencent introduced the gameplay management system to try and encourage players to play less, and it would have regular pop-ups to take a break. And they also launched a digital lock system similar in 2019, which would it would try and get people to restrict players under the age of 15 from playing more than 2 hours of gameplay a day. So it's kind of it's an evolution of that. So as you can see, like we say, it feels like it's coming from a place of good, but yeah, it's shaky territory for sure.
What this does lead into is as we know, there's discussion around clearly, the World Health Organization's taken an interest in gaming. It's been declared an addiction, or in certain cases can be declared an addiction. And what happens is it's up to the games makers to put in these safeguards and be responsible as much as it can be in areas that it should be concerned with. And if they don't, what we've seen historically, and is probably somewhat relatable in this case, is that the government will step in and enforce, or legislation will be implemented. So maybe there's lessons to be learned and insight to take, that if we as an industry don't take these sort of behaviours seriously, then do we want other parties mandating what happens? I mean, that's a big conversation way above my pay grade.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely above mine then. So let's swiftly move on. This is something that you actually are talking about in the Etch Play Roundup tomorrow, Dan, but we thought it would be good to chat about it on the show as well. If anyone doesn't know, we do put a weekly roundup out on our blog, etchuk.com/play/blog. You can see that every Friday. We also post it out on our Twitter and things like that, so check that out. But right now we're going to talk about it. So there's been some changes to Ubisoft's management structure, as I understand it, and looking like it's moving to live services. Do you want to talk a bit about that, Dan?
Yes, so the press release from Ubisoft is just kind of announcing that their Montreal and Quebec studios are going to be working more seamlessly together on the next generation of Assassin's Creed games, which we've had confirmed now is Assassin's Creed Infinity. And the reading between the lines, the media have picked up that Assassin's Creed is moving to a services model, so it's going to be more of a continuous live service based experience. And Ubisoft haven't explicitly said that is the case. They equally haven't denied it, and it's perhaps not an unreasonable assumption to make based on the trends in the market, and perhaps also reflective of some of the things that we've seen in the recent Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla games. They've kind of had these timed or themed events, and it's not a surprising thing. The Assassin's Creed universe is so well established, and there's lots of opportunity there for live services, or we've spoken a lot about kind of the long life games. Is the next Assassin's Creed game going to not just be a singular narrative journey that it's an open world adventure and they're vast, but it does have a start, middle, and end kind of experience to it, and then they drop in some DLC and maybe some kind of events that are a part of it. But if they lean into that live events thing, could be an interesting evolution. People are skeptical and worried, as always is the case with these kind of in any walk of life, change is scary. But I think it's I'm a big fan of the series, and I like to lean into change. So I'd be interested to see how that pans out. And we know it's working well for other games. I thought that was quite an interesting thing to see unfold.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess from a creative standpoint, it gives more time to build on a story and build within a world. I've never really played the Assassin's Creed games, but as you say, like right now they have a start, middle, and end, Whereas now, if they're going to be adding more to it and like looking to expand the games like even longer than it has before, I guess it gives more freedom for the people making the games to kind of explore the stories a little bit more and kind of see how things change and adapt, kind of not on the fly so much, but kind of garner what opinions are, kind of see what people want to do and take the game in the direction that the players want. Because I guess that's one of the secrets for making a long life game be successful is to listen to what the player base wants and what the audience wants. There's no good just keep working on your game for 10 years if you're only doing what you want and you're not paying attention to what the players want, because people will just leave. So
yeah, very much so. And I think there's also positive impact, or potential for positive impact on things like production cycles. You're not all all bets are on this one big release and everything has to be in there or not. We've got used to day one patches and things like that now, but actually if you're going to really embrace that model, you can maybe scale back, okay, what's realistic and achievable, because we know we're going to have the next beat, and like you say, we can expand, take the story in different directions, take it from the point of view of different characters. There's lots of creative scope and lots of production scope, and also, like I say, we can introduce features, see how they float with the audience, make changes, and it's not all you're not putting all your bets on one singular release date, which is good. I think good for the industry, good for the people working on the game and the audience.
Definitely, I would agree. The next story we have relates to Amazon. So Amazon Lumberyard is going open source. It's either just gone open source or it's going open source. So I'm going to explain this poorly, so I'll explain it, Dan, and then you can correct everything that I get wrong. So Amazon Lumberyard is like a building platform, kind of like Unity or Unreal, that Amazon bought a part of and forked to create Lumberjack. They encourage people to use it. It's kind of tied with the AWS infrastructure, which is Amazon's web services platform. But now they've said it's now going open source, and Amazon have saying this as a positive, like, hey, this is great. We're giving this to the community, and it perhaps is being received by the community as, hang on a minute, are you guys giving up on this and just walking away from it? Have I got that right, Dan?
Yes, you very, very good. One slip up and calling it Lumberjack, but
Lumberyard. Oh, Lumberyard. I've got Lumberjacks on the brain.
Lumberyard bought a license to fork Crytek's CryEngine. There was a big fanfare. There's studios. There is a big game, New World, being developed by Amazon Game Studios that I think is still happening and still being released, which is interesting. I think Star Citizen, which was a big Kickstarter title that's had a lot of fanfare, they were kind of lured into being developed on Lumberyard, and now it seems the Lumberyard is no more. It's being rebranded as Open 3D Engine, or O3DE, as they are catchy little title for that. And it's open source is great. We're big advocates of open source, but it is also perhaps a sign when a huge enterprise, it's kind of like a get out of jail free. Oh yeah, we're doing this great thing for the community, but actually it's like, well, maybe we've just lost interest, or this wasn't going as well as we wanted. It is surprising. I think they announced, or they first released Lumberyard. It's been like 5 years, which is a reasonable stretch, but you compare it to the Unities, the Unreals, and big ambitious games, they take a long time. And I don't know if when you get these giants kind of swooping in on, oh, we're gonna do a games, I feel like they just kind of, they have the money, they have the resources to just throw together a high profile team, but they don't necessarily give it the bedding in time that it needs. You can't just put it's like with anything, and take a sports team. You don't just slap all the high profile expensive players together and they work as a team straight away. It takes time. You need to find your rhythms, find your norms. It's a bit of a shame to see Amazon possibly kind of retreating from the narrative they were putting out a few years ago. But good for open source, and maybe it does give those who did engage with it and have been on it, maybe it gives them some freedom. And then like the original Lumberyard arrangement, I think they were investing or helping studios, but they had to commit to using AWS services, and I'm sure there was some sort of power dynamics involved there. So maybe it will give them a bit more freedom. So yeah, we'll see what comes of it. But I think it's not an unreasonable interpretation of the industry to say, okay, Amazon are checking out of that one, and we'll see what they do next.
It's interesting what you say about the big companies coming into game, because I feel like we're seeing that a little bit now. Because obviously, as we were just explained, we're kind of seeing it with Amazon, like Amazon Studios, like they're creating games and it's all quite quiet. They're heavily involved and own Twitch, so that's they're in on that side of things. But we see a similar thing with Google. Like Google were kind of going all in on gaming with their gaming studios and with Stadia, and then it's all just gone a little bit quiet and things that seem like they're getting shut down. And maybe it's just maybe gaming isn't quite as easy to crack as everyone potentially thought it was going to be. See, this is a big, huge money maker, but it is, but it's very difficult. And I think we talk about it a lot. It's maybe putting credence into how games is growing up, and it's not just anybody can make a game, and they're like, even the big, huge companies are struggling because they're getting in now, and they maybe not rooted in it like a lot of the big players who do great now, like Sony and Microsoft have been in gaming for so long that they get it, they're embedded, they understand it. Same with Nintendo, they've been around for so long. Coming in as a new player is going to be difficult, and we're maybe just seeing that burnout that the companies get that are so used to making a lot of money. When it's not making a lot of money quick, are we actually interested in staying in this?
And yeah, you think like they will have invested so much money in such a short space of time. And I always think, like, if there wasn't this whole kind of ownership, it's got to be invented here, it's got to be ours, and actually they maybe invested in existing establishments and a little bit lighter touch, less ownership concerns. What could they have done with that investment otherwise? But hindsight is a wonderful thing.
It certainly is. So we're going to close off the show with one piece of news story, very self-indulgent. We're going to talk about ourselves. So Dan, you did a new stream on this Tuesday just gone. I believe you're going to do another one. So if you can tell us a little bit about that. So that's why you need to be subscribed to the Etch Twitch channel. You can't just be showing up at 4 o'clock on a Thursday.
Follow button.
Hit it, because we could go live at any time. We're renegades. We do what we want, when we want. But yeah, hit that follow, and then anytime we go live, you'll be notified. But
we are the punk rock of games industry streaming. Is that what you're saying?
Rock and roll. Yeah, the only rule we have is that there's no rules. But yeah, tell us about your stream on Tuesday, what you were talking about, and what you plan on doing with it going forward.
So it's a bit of an experiment we're running. We've obviously been doing the live show for a while, which is great and we all enjoy, but we do know we do enjoy it a lot, and we want to get more content out there, and we want to stream more, and just try and experiment with different subject matter, and it's great for ourselves as well, like the amount we learn from doing this. And so I kind of thought, okay, I'll do something. The live show is obviously during the workday. Let's see what happens if we do an out of hours stream. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm looking at the week's games releases. So I get the ICO Partners Team newsletter, which comes on a Monday. So on a Tuesday I stream, and we look at the list and we say, okay, what are some of the best performing games, what are some of the worst performing games, and just have a look at what they've done. How did they get to where they are? What's the difference between the high performers and the low performers? What marketing have they done? So we'll look at their store presence, we'll look at their social media activity, we'll look at their press coverage. Are they building a community? What are the size of their community? It's very rough around the edges, it's fair to say. I'm not putting a lot of prep into it. We're just diving in and seeing how it unfolds. But it was really good fun. I enjoyed it, and I think there's a lot more that we can get out of it. I can certainly get better at hosting and the process we go through. There's a lot of really interesting insight we get just by taking a look at what is happening in the market. And as we know, there are so many games that gets released, and only a very, very few of them kind of like float to the top and see the success that any game developer would like to see. So why don't we take a look and see if we can spot some trends and behaviors, and that's what it's all about, really. So it's every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. I get myself some dinner, and then I settle down. What I might try and do, and I'm exclusively revealing this now, aka making this up as I go along. Thank you, Tony. Tony was there and joined me on the last stream. And yes, what I'm going to do this time is I think the first stream was about 45 minutes, and there was still plenty more that we could have gone through. So I'm going to aim to do about an hour of looking at the games, and then what I'm going to do is pick a game that we've looked at, and I'll buy it, and we'll actually just play the game and just have a bit of fun as well. So that's going to be the model. Open to any and all feedback. Please come and join me on a Tuesday evening, and we'll see what we can learn.
Cool, that sounds great. I caught a bit of the stream on Tuesday, and I'm not just saying it because boss. It is very insightful. Lots of good, interesting things in there. So 7:30 on a Tuesday. Make sure you subscribe so you get notified when Dan goes live on a Tuesday, and when you get notified when we go live on a Thursday, and when we go live at any other time, because you never just know. We're always waiting to stream. So
we're gonna up our streaming game.
Yeah.
And I'm open to guests as well. So if there's anybody you think, maybe you know somebody who's releasing a game, and it'd be interesting to get them on, or if there's somebody whose opinion you think would be good, let us know, and I'll reach out to some of my friends, and equally, the fellow play team who are at a loose end on a Tuesday evening. You may see them pop up from time to time.
Yeah, definitely. So be sure to check that out on a Tuesday night. Definitely worth a watch. Dan, I think if that was a show, I think we've had it. We said we were going to aim for 20 minutes. It's 22 minutes past, so we did 20 minutes. Thank you, everyone who has joined us. Apologies that this is a shorter show than normal. If you joined late, we're on a company retreat today, which we've got to head to now. But we didn't want to let you down, so we were here anyway. But thank you.
COVID tests to pass.
Yes, COVID tests. Unfortunately, with the restrictions being pushed further back, but at least we know we'll all be safe. We're all doing everything by the letter of the law, doing it by the book, and it'd be just great to see some people in the flesh. Nice to see some people. So yes, thank you for letting us do a shorter show. But we were going to do it anyway. But thank you anyway. And be sure to check out Dan's stream here at 7:30 on Tuesday, and we'll be back again Thursday 4 p.m. next week, as always, and we will see you then. Have a pleasant evening and a pleasant weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.